what if the White Sox decide to just tear it down at the deadline and, trade away a lot of big pieces, acquire a lot of big pieces and whatnot? It's gonna be fascinating. A lot of signs are pointing in that direction. We're still a little bit early. Things may change, but they've expressed interest in trading certain players and acquiring certain players. So we'll talk about that. And I'm gonna go over other teams as well. So if you're a baseball fan, you're not subscribed to this channel, please do that. And if you're a Yankee fan, I hope that you're subscribed to this channel too, because we got a lot of Yankee content coming your way as well. So I thank you either way. But let's go over who are the most valuable pieces I think that would be available trades for the White Sox. Okay, I'm going to point them up here. Number one, that's their ace, Dylan Cease. Okay, he's 27 years old. Okay, and he's got 2 more years, 2 more arbitration years. Not a free agent until 2026. So 2 more after this year, 2024 and 2025. And then before he hits free agency, I think 29 or 30 years old. So he's in for a big payday. He could be a huge trade piece. And personally, I see the Seattle Mariners and Houston Astros being really logical fits for him. And I've got some trades that I'll go over later on in this video as well. So let's keep going over the players, though. Next up, Tim Anderson, their shortstop. He's got 2 club options as well. He's not a free agent until 2025. So he's known as a clutch hitter, contact skill and power. 3 logical fits, in my opinion: the Los Angeles Angels, the Arizona Diamondbacks, and the Los Angeles Dodgers, and potentially some other ones. But a West Coast team, I think, would be a team that'd be willing to fork up some good capital for him. And again, a lot of these teams can contend for his services, and he would be a good fit for a lot of them. Next up, Lucas Giolito. Okay, he's basically their number 2 pitcher behind Dylan Cease. Okay, he's a free agent at the end of the year, so the cost would be different for a player like him, but he's considered a front end starter, and he could be a valuable piece for a team that who wants to he needs one more starter, and that's in a playoff run or whatnot, or wants to package him an even bigger trade. So there's a lot of things that they could do. A lot of things they could do with Lucas Giolito. So next up, Garrett Crochet. Now he's a guy. He's interesting me because he's 23 years old. So if they want to build around youth, him and like guys like Machado, Luis Robert, and some of these other folks, then they might want to keep him. But at the very least, I think they're going to shop and see what they can get for him. Now, he's not a free agent until 2027, so he has a ton of control. He can also go short relief and long relief. So his versatility and his youth and his controllable years make him a huge trade piece, probably the second biggest behind Dylan Cease, in my opinion. So, but we'll see. And there's another reliever. He's a little bit older, Aaron Bummer. Okay, he's a little bit older than Crochet, so he's probably more movable. But he's also a lefty reliever who can go short and long relief. He's also not a free agent until 2027. So, again, several years of control, which is an interesting asset for a lot, or a valuable asset for a lot of these players. So you can see, like, there's a lot of players that the White Sox can move and get a lot back in return if they want to go that route. And right now, to me, they're the most logical team to probably do something like this, but it still remains to be seen. Now, let's go over a couple trades, okay? Chicago White Sox, Houston Astros. In this trade, Dylan Cease would go to Houston. And again, Houston is down a pitcher. So is Seattle. So that's one reason why they seem to be the most logical fits for me. And they have the capital. They get them. Okay, they've made huge pitching trades recently. I mean, Houston with Justin Verlander, right, and Seattle with Luis Castillo, and even Robbie Ray. But that wasn't a trade; it was a signing. But they are pitching-hungry teams. They're pitching-driven teams as well. So this trade, Dylan Cease would go to Houston in exchange for Colin Barber, who's an outfielder, Corey Lee, who's a catcher. Okay, and catcher, the guy Yasmani Grandal. I'll go over him as well. If they trade Yasmani Grandal and bring in the catching prospect, high-end catching prospect would be a wise idea. So Corey Lee and Colton Gordon. Okay, that's the number 3, 5, and 8 prospects from Houston for Dylan Cease. It may cost a 4th prospect, but this seems to be like a pretty solid trade in my opinion. So next up will be a trade with the White Sox and the Seattle Mariners, but this is a multiplayer trade. Dylan Cease and Tim Anderson would go to Seattle Mariners, and these are trades that I think are doable. So not predictions, doable trades. They would go to Seattle for J.P. Crawford, who's currently their starting shortstop. Okay, over in Seattle, but he's not at he's a little bit a notch below Tim Anderson. Okay, and they need as clutch and high end players they can get right now. Seattle, if they want to make a real serious run. So again, it would be for J.P. Crawford, their starting shortstop, Bryce Miller, their number 2 prospect, who's a right-handed pitcher, Gabe Gonzalez, who's an outfielder, their number 7 prospect, and Tyler Locklear, so he's like an Andres Chaparro first base slash third base. He's our number 10 prospect. So this will be 3 prospects and a major league starter for Dylan Cease and Tim Anderson. That would be a big trade. Okay. And let's go over Yasmani Grandal really quickly because he's in his final year of his 4-year contract with the White Sox. So in this trade, it will be a White Sox-Cardinals trade. Yasmani Grandal would go to St. Louis for Ivan Herrera, who's the number 3 prospect, the catcher. Excuse me, number 8 prospect, the catcher. And Pete Hansen, number 14 prospect, the left-handed pitcher. Since he's going to be a free agent. The package wouldn't be as high or as lucrative or as expensive, but I could see them bringing him in there, especially if they just signed Wilson Contreras like a $90 million deal, and they've already taken him off the catching starter job. So, a guy like Yasmani Grandal can compete with him, can complement him, can do, it gives him some versatility. They're not giving up Tyler O'Neill, Dylan Carr. They're not giving up the big dogs. So, I could see something like this happen, especially if St. Louis thinks they can turn this thing around. So, the Yankees have been turning it around. The Cardinals can turn it around too. Now, let's get to the final trade. White Sox Yankees. Remember, a couple of years ago, they made a huge trade. Okay, and the Yankees got Todd Frazier, the Todd father, Tommy Kahnle, and David Robertson, 2 relievers and an infielder. Okay, and this trade here would be a multiplayer trade too. Gleyber Torres would go to the White Sox, so would Estevan Florial and Elijah Dunham. Okay, to the White Sox for Lucas Giolito, free agent at the end of the season. Okay, Aaron Bummer, free agent 2025, and a guy I have not mentioned yet. I have to give a shout out to Hector from Yankees Morning Brew and Morning Brew Sports for mentioning yesterday Joe Kelly. He's a reliever at the White Sox. I completely forgot he was there, so shout out to you, Hector, and thank you for bringing him up. And I agree with him 100%. This would be a perfect fit for the Yankees. Okay, so again, it would be Giolito, Bummer, and Joe Kelly. He was not a free agent until 2025, so he's got this year and next year. Okay, Bummer's not a free agent until 2027. So, and you're giving the White Sox tons of controllable years with Florial and Dunham, and then you give him a major league ready player right now, potential all-star in Gleyber Torres. So Joe Kelly's playoff tested. He's still a hard. He's older. He's like 34, but he still throws 100 miles an hour. He's playoff tested with Boston. He's a tough player. He's a gamer. Exactly the fit that would be perfect here. In this trade, the Yankees would get a starter. Okay, because I don't see Frankie Montas coming back, and I could also see them moving on and trading Luis Severino. And if they do that, here's his replacement, Lucas Giolito right now. Okay, and you get a left-handed reliever with controllable years, and you get a right-handed reliever with controllable years for a playoff run, and hopefully a deep one. So this is what I'm thinking. That's what's going around in my head. Let me know what you think. Load up the comments. Let me know if you find these trades interesting, doable, possible. Would you make different trades? Okay, I'm going to be going live with the boys from early Yankees Morning Brew, Joey Caputo from The Shift, okay? And we're going to talk about all the trades chatter we're hearing right now for trade deadline. There's a lot of interesting stuff that's been going around, so we're going to talk about that and get into it. So I hope that you'll join us. It's going to be probably tomorrow afternoon. I'm going to get confirmation from the gang, and I will put out the preview so you know exactly when it's going to happen. But we'll be going live so you can participate. It's going to be fascinating and a great time. So have a great day, everybody. I'll see you all later for tonight's lineup. And if any other news that comes out from the Yankees, you know you're going to get it here, baby. Talk to you next time.